CritCast.
Hello and welcome to the first ever episode of CritCast, or CritCast if you're from
If
jolly
you're from
old
where I'm from.
jolly old Britain.
CritCast, darling.
Yes, yeah, you gotta add the darling, otherwise it doesn't
Darling.
count.
Yeah, it's not the same if you don't add darling.
No, it needs that. It needs that smirkiness, you know.
It needs the extra flavor.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's bland.
Yeah. Okay, so my name is Rachel, and my co-host for today is BleepFox or Fox.
Just Fox.
Just Fox.
But yeah, also BleepFox. I'm BleepFox on everything. Twitch
Okay.
and Twitter and all that kind of stuff.
Hey, you're supposed to do that at the end, all the advertising.
Hey, I'm fitting it in. Okay, it's my day job at this point.
Oh wow, man! Didn't know we were doing that well. So, is it also like really snowing over there?
I haven't looked out of a window yet today. Hold on.
Okay, well, because it's like
No,
it's
it's very windy though.
Oh,
It's very loud.
like winter wonderland over here.
Oh,
suddenly,
well,
yeah.
you get that because you're a lot more northern than me.
Oh, I am.
Yeah, I live in the southern UK, as some listeners may be able to tell from my voice.
Oh, I wouldn't be
I'm
able
a
to tell.
filthy southerner.
Filthy southerner. So does that mean like London or something? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that technically counts. I'm the other side than that, but yeah,
Hmm.
I got to be careful. I don't want to dox myself.
No, yeah, don't. Just like, well, London is a pretty big place, no? Like,
Yeah, let's just say I live around London.
it's kind of funny too because like I'm from the Netherlands and like
Yeah.
I feel like I could name like just the Netherlands itself, and I'm almost doxing myself because the country is just so damn small.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like in
Yeah,
this
that is
approximation-
the good thing about the UK.
yeah. At least it's a little bit bigger.
could- Yeah,
Like if you were to
and
say,
people just accept it too.
if you were to say like, oh, I'm from like China or Russia or something, it's like, yeah, good luck figuring
it's
out. Very
Meaningless.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything. But especially when Americans ask me where I'm from, and I'm like, oh, England, they're like, oh, cool, and then they don't ask anything else
Oh yeah,
because they think I live on a tiny island and we all know each other.
it's Turf Island. Yeah.
It is Tough Island. It's also Plague Island at the moment as well.
Oh yeah, it is. You've developed your
Yeah.
own special brand of COVID over there.
Yeah, special flavor of death.
Yeah, that's also the reason why like traveling to the UK is forbidden over here, at least
Yeah,
at the
I mean,
moment.
it should also be forbidden here, but I don't know if it is at the moment.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it should just be forbidden, like always.
It should, yeah. It should always be forbidden.
Yeah, just
You
like
shouldn't ever come here.
yeah, just
don't ever come
yeah,
here.
Don't go to Turf Island. Just don't.
Yeah, never go. Never come here. It's terrible. I'm trying to leave.
Yeah, I was going to
Don't
say,
come
like,
here.
do we need to rescue you? Like, do we need to pull a
I
rescue
think I
operation?
was actually talking about it on stream. I was like, I might if
Oh, right,
because
really?
recently they stopped. I've been thinking about it for years, but recently they stopped allowing some people to get blood tests
Oh, wow.
because they're trans and they're not taking prescription medication that's been prescribed to them.
Oh,
So I feel like the next step is to make buying hormones illegal, and if that happens, I gotta go.
yeah.
I'm
Yikes,
I'm
man.
too busy. I can't do that. I've got shit to do.
Yeah. Wow, that's well. That neatly ties into today's subject, I would say.
Yeah.
Which is
By the way,
Oh,
we're
sorry.
both trans.
yeah. Well, you know,
Yeah.
we need to say, but I guess we do.
Yeah.
Just FYI. But
Just in case, we have to come out for the episode
yeah.
about coming out.
oh yeah. Oh, I didn't even get it. Wow. Just flying right
did the
past me.
intro.
Yeah.
You did the intro. I'll just swipe past and do the theme.
Yes.
The first ever episode of CritCast, the theme is coming out.
Yes, the first ever. Feels kind of special.
First ever.
Yeah.
It does feel special. So did you, I was thinking about it earlier, and do you want to talk about the vague act of coming out, or have you got like stories?
I've actually thought about that just like when I made breakfast just now, and
Yeah.
like I actually thought like it would be cool if we could avoid like the really heavy stuff, because I mean, it's kind of difficult to do because like it is a very like just a rough thing.
It can be, yeah.
You know, it's just a very rough thing in general to talk about, and so it's difficult to avoid. But at the same time, because I know a lot of like our listeners are going to be trans themselves, I want to set like a positive example, you know, of like
I mean, my way of handling it, I was actually monologuing about this while I was streaming earlier because I was just sat in silence and just thinking about it, and I was just like, well, I generally deal with it with comedy anyway.
Yeah.
So like even the bad ones, I just find funny now. So I can talk about them without being upset because I just think they're so funny because they're so ridiculous.
Oh no, you're turning into the Joker.
First
I thought my life was a tragedy, but now I know
everything
it's a comedy.
is difficult. I just find it funny now. It's just so silly. Like it's just so ridiculous.
I guess that's true. Yeah, I haven't reached that level of doomerism yet, but
no, I deal with everything like that. Really.
Yeah, I guess that's not a bad thing, but and I guess just in general, I'd like to avoid creating a sense of like hopelessness. Because so I went to like a lot of like trans meetups, and like one of the like and of course the meetup is like something that trans people of all ages come to, you know, like people who are just out of the closet, people who have been out of the closet for like 40 years, you know, crazy. But of course, you go there and there's like a big group of people talking about like their experiences, and the overwhelming like vibe is just like very negative, very, very thick atmosphere of like of just doom and gloom. And I could just look around the room and see like a bunch of well, let's be honest, kids, teenagers, like who just came out of the closet and are just dealing with, you know, this experience.
Yeah,
of
the
being
fear
trans.
of it anyway.
Yeah, and I could just see them see them looking and I'm just thinking to myself like, that must be so scary, you know? It must be so scary to just hear people just go like, "Oh, you're trans? Well, be prepared because, you know, our life is gonna suck." Like, oh my god.
I hope that by the end of this podcast, from me at least, you get the impression that most people don't really care when you come out to them, because that's been my experience, is that I get all worked up about like, oh god, I'm gonna have to tell them because they keep like making assumptions about me because they think that I'm this kind of person and I'm not, and then I come out to them and they're like, oh cool, okay, and then they just move on.
Well, reasonable people.
And that's
anyways.
that's been like, especially within my own age group, definitely. It's just been
that's not too bad from like Turf Island, no? Or
yeah, I mean, it's young people are cool because they're just like,
oh yeah, I guess
everything's a bit shit anyway, so it's just like, yeah, you know, you know, it's that patented British like cynicism, I guess. Yeah, I mean, a lot of funny, because before I came out to people, I had this idea that the people who were going to be the most accepting were going to be men, because I thought, oh, well, they won't really care regardless. And then I thought the people that are really going to have a problem with me being a trans woman are women. And it actually turned out that the women were the most supportive, and they were actually more upset about things that were happening to me than I was. And that they were very emotionally invested, which was a huge shock to me.
For me, it was like, it's like really mixed, actually.
Yeah.
Like in terms of like, just, you know, genders of the people who were accepting and those who weren't. It's just really mixed. Like some people, yeah, I can't really like, can't really say if it's like women were like more accepting. Like sometimes I think they are, but I've also had like, you know, of course my mom was like a really negative experience, and that's pretty much like the most negative experience I've had. It was just my own
yeah.
mother. And
yeah, I had that with my dad.
Yeah, see,
and I still have that with my dad.
It's like the complete opposite. Like,
yeah,
or not the complete opposite. My dad is a piece of shit too, but
yeah. Oh my god, no! When I came out to my mum, it was kind of semi-accidental because we were just texting, and I can't even remember what happened now, but she was just like, "Are you a boy?" And I was like, "No." And she was like, "Well, are you a girl then?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then she was like, "Okay, cool." And that was it.
Wow. Yeah. I wish it would be that easy.
Yeah. And then it turned into this whole thing, this whole shit thing that was like such a disaster inside our like family unit that just went horribly wrong from there. But like, it really was just like, okay, yeah, all right. And my mum has said to me since that it's because she wants to see what her kids become. She's not interested in making them do anything.
Although I have to say, like that kind of thing, the kind of silent agreement of like, okay, is also kind of like a bit of a danger in my opinion. Because you know what I mean? Because a lot of people will just...
I'm very aware of what you mean.
Yeah, exactly. It's just people will, from my own experience, my own family was exactly like that as well. Like my siblings, they were exactly like that. They were like, okay, so you're trans. And they were just like quiet about it. But they weren't like overtly negative or something. They were just like, oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay, well, you're trans. That's fine. And so I kind of worked with this assumption that everything was okay, that they've at least partially accepted who I was. But of course, they kept it to themselves, and I later found out that they were just really confused and they didn't get it, and so this silent agreement thing, I don't really like that anymore. Like I'd rather like get it over with, like as cringy and annoying as it may be, just like sit around the table and be like, hey, I'm trans. That's really dumb.
Yeah.
I'd rather not do that, but at the same time, it does give it does eliminate like any confusion, there might be,
because that is the stressful part of it, is when you're in the dark about how people really feel.
Yeah,
is because when you're like, oh, they don't accept me, then it's like, okay, cool, I just won't talk to you anymore. Then
exactly.
Then you get that closure of like, okay, cool, like I can't be around you. That's fine.
Yeah.
When you're trying to figure out if someone is kind of accepting and okay with you, it's a lot more stressful because you're kind of nudging them and like trying to get clues out of them, and it's just a bad time.
Oh yeah, that's the most annoying thing. And I guess I guess my message about that, to any like cis people who might be listening is just like, if you don't get it, please be open about it. Just don't be scared to at least just say something. Don't say okay when you really mean something. What
does that mean?
Yeah. Like trans. Like at least just be open about your ignorance. That's totally
like
fine.
I always thought, before I came out to family members, I was like, if they just asked me, I would be honest.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
If they had just said, "Are you trans?" I would be like, "Yeah." Yeah, I am. I wouldn't like continue to try to hide it, or like if they asked me anything about it. And that was a big thing. I think actually the most successful coming out I've had was to my nan.
Oh wow, nice.
Who immediately was like, okay, I totally accept it. And I already knew that she knew someone who has a trans son, and she's close friends with the mother of that trans son. So I knew that she was aware of its existence. It wasn't like a totally new thing to her. So she was like, okay, well, I'm going to ask you things, and I hope that that's okay. And I was like, please just ask me. Like, don't try and figure things out. Just ask me.
That also kind of eliminates the whole like, well, they're old people, they just don't get it thing, Of like,
yeah, I mean, It is it. Even in my experience in the service industry, old people are actually pretty chill. It's middle-aged people that are not chill. They're the worst.
Middle-aged, like Gen X or boomers?
Just under boomers, I think, maybe.
Yeah, Gen X, yeah.
Yeah, but like, if someone's old and they're like, I don't know what I'm talking about, can you help? I'm like, that's great.
Yeah, at least...
That's fantastic.
Yeah, at least that gives you an opportunity to, fill somebody in.
Yeah.
Like if someone just outright says like, "Oh, I don't believe you're really trans. I don't believe trans exists," or whatever.
I think you'll figure out that you're just gay or something, and then you're like, okay, we know what we need to work out now if we actually need to work this out or not. Yeah. I haven't really. Because I'm lucky enough to, I still have both sets of grandparents.
Oh, nice.
On my mum's side, I'm really, really close with them. I'm not as close on my dad's side. But my dad decided that he was going to out me to my grandparents on his side. And I knew that he was going to do it before he did it because I had a mole who told me, basically.
Oh, wow, Jesus.
And I was just like, okay, well, I don't know what he's going to say to them and like how he's going to word it or what he's going to do. And that was actually what made me come out to my other grandparents who I'm much closer to, because I was like, I can't let him out me to my other set of grandparents. So I came out to them like the next day. And it was like great. It was like a really heartwarming moment where my grandparents were like, "Yeah, we want to know about it, and like we want to support you and all that kind of stuff."
Yeah.
So it was worth it in the end. I just needed a bit of a shove, but maybe not like that.
Well, at least like that's another thing like about coming out. It's like when a trans person approaches you and they come forth about like their trans identity. I think it's important to know as a cis person at least that, or any person really, like that that they're they trust you with like this very personal, private information.
Yeah, and it's also like they clearly want to continue their relationship with you.
Yeah, exactly. So
it's like every trans person is avoiding coming out to people. Like,
yeah, pretty much.
If they know you and they think I probably won't be friends with you for much longer, so I just won't, and then we probably won't talk again. Like,
yeah, so I do think it's very important for these people to understand that. This is meant to be confidential, unless the trans person just specifies otherwise. Like, oh, I'm just totally fine with it. Even then, I would still be cautious about like sharing it with others.
I mean, it's the same thing with like sexuality and stuff like that, where it's like, it's not really your business to kind of tell other people about it. I mean, it's all contextual. There are circumstances when, like, if you're saving someone from being hurt by some kind of action or something, you might nudge someone to be like, no, they actually don't like that kind of thing, or like they're not actually that kind of person. And it might, I've been in circumstances like that before, where like it's so difficult to explain because they're always such complicated circumstances of like interpersonal relationships within, like complicated groups of people.
Yeah.
As a general rule, you just kind of let the person who's coming out to you come out in their own way, however that is. It's not really on you to out them to everyone. And I had an ex that did that, and it was really weird. It was just weird. Like it didn't upset me or stress me out. I was just like, wow, this is weird. She's like telling all of my school friends. This is really weird.
and I also feel like there might be a little bit of like a double standard involved sometimes, because a lot of people, and this is kind of just an impression that I've got in general, and that is that mainly cis people, they sometimes think that that they have this this privilege, I guess, to share all this information when it's regarding a trans person. It's like they have the right to share these personal things because it's like a trans person, while in fact like if a cis person has like certain private things that they wouldn't want you to share, you would never do it. But somehow when like as soon as somebody like is trans, somehow that changes things for like some people. And I don't know why that is. Like, it's just like...
I think
like,
it might be like one of those like token friend things where they get so excited that they have one of those friends.
Yeah,
and they're really excited to tell everyone about how they have one of those friends.
Yeah, I think that's like one of the main aspects of it. But at the same time, yeah, I just think that's so curious. It's like... and that's one of the things that I always keep repeating to people is that like, would you share this kind of information about, you know, just any cis person? If the answer is no, then it's also not okay to do this in, you know, in regards to like a trans person. But for some reason, at least sometimes, it's just not regarded as the same thing. It's almost and you kind of wade into the territory of like you know, viewing trans people as like the deceptors, you know. So and like so as soon as people have this kind of perception of trans people as deceptors, then they also think it's okay to share this kind of information about them.
Yeah, if you get deep into that kind of like viewpoint as seeing trans people as like liars and deceptors, it can be, you know, if you believe that, it can feel morally right to out them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's that. Yeah,
because you see them as like this deep deceptive villain.
Yeah,
that might hurt someone. Like, yeah, if you think someone's going to hurt someone, like I can see why you would try and take action. It's just extremely misguided.
Yeah, it's just gonna they think they owe it to somebody to say that
to protect them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Like one of the things that, because I knew that I was trans properly in second year of university, and you know I was still going to classes at that point because COVID hadn't kicked in. But I remember kind of looking around at the class and just thinking like, I definitely don't want to come out in this setting because it's not worth it. Like, I don't know any of these people very well, and I don't know who's gonna be weird. And like, I was proven right eventually when a girl in my class went on this like tirade on Facebook about how, you know, terrible trans women are, blah, blah, blah. I won't go into it because we've all heard it before.
Yeah, of course.
And I was like, oh, fuck. Like, I nearly came out to you. Like, I had that, like, moment of, like, I nearly came out to you in the cafeteria that day. And I had that, like, moment of thinking about it.
That's another thing.
Oh, no.
That's another thing about coming out that a lot of, like, cis people don't realize is that when they come out, especially, like, in a public sense, they don't know who they're coming out to, you know? Like, they could be coming out to some you know, like a really dangerous transphobe.
Yeah.
You know, like
and it's kind of like the other side of that coin of when you really respect someone famous and then you just kind of wait for them to say something horrible about you, you know?
Yeah.
Where like you recently it wasn't that recently, it was a few months ago, Olivia Colman, who's an actor who I really, really, really respect and I've always really loved, signed a letter of support for trans women on Day for Prevention of Violence Against Women. It's a long one. I don't think that's the name of it, but
something along
on that day, something like that. And I remember just immediately crying
Wow.
Because I was like, oh my God, like this person that I really respect doesn't see me as like a disgusting like wretch. And because every now and again a celebrity will come forward and be like, I'm a bigot, and you're like, oh come on, not you, like I really like the thing that you make or whatever. And it's this kind of same kind of feeling of like, oh, I don't want to come out to you because what if I like you and then I come out to you and then you're horrible.
I personally don't keep any heroes anymore. It's like, even besides
I think that's a good way to be, because I generally don't, but the women that I've always respected have helped me identify myself.
I mean, I certainly have like, I know I have like authors and just creative people whose work I've admired in the past, but like I just don't try to create like a deep personal connection with it, just because I know.
I mean, that's not really healthy anyway.
No, it really isn't healthy, because like, then you get I heart J.K. Rowling people. That's what you get.
That's weird. That's just weird.
Nobody wants that.
But it's like, because I wanted to be an actor for a while, and I decided not to. And I went into music instead. But I still have a really strong interest in acting, and seeing, it's so difficult to explain, but like seeing people in that realm just not being horrible just means a lot to me.
I thought that was one of the few good things that resulted from like the whole J.K. Rowling backlash was just the actors coming out saying, hey, we're not horrible. We don't share this bigot's opinions.
Yeah, because I never really got into the Harry Potter movies, but like, I'd like to respect Emma Watson as a person because she does a lot of great things, and it would really suck if it ended at trans people, but it doesn't really. She's actually very cool.
Yeah.
And that's nice. It doesn't do anything for me, it doesn't give me any more rights, but it's nice.
No. I mean, still then, she's still just a person with flaws, and,
Yeah.
Just like we are,
Yeah, absolutely. It's just you learn to expect someone to kind of come out as a transphobe, a different form of coming out. But yeah, my overall experience with coming out has been relatively uneventful, because it's just been like at parties. Usually I have to do it at some point because someone will make some kind of comment about me being a certain way or something.
Oh, no.
And I have to be like, well, actually...
Of course.
Actually, I don't... Yeah.
Then you're going to get into why do you look so different?
Yeah.
And that always amuses me, I guess, because one of the things that, transphobes always say is just like, why can't you just be a feminine man? And but at the same time, they don't treat feminine men like any less shitty than trans women. Like it's not like it's not like if like a shitty person approaches you and you say like, wait, I'm just a feminine man. It's like that doesn't stop it. It doesn't make it like any less shitty.
If a transphobe saw a feminine man, they would just accuse them of being a trans man.
Yeah, probably.
They would just find some angle to be upset about trans people.
Oh yeah,
probably.
It doesn't matter. Like that's also why I think that's also why the biological like aspect that they keep arguing from. I think that's mostly a red herring. Because
it is on purpose, because it's a bottomless pit of meaningless crap. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't matter in the real world. Nobody cares.
And also, if one of these things is met, they'll keep moving the goalpost just regardless.
Yeah, they don't care.
Yeah, like once. Remember the whole fallout when a bunch of doctors like came out saying that in the next like decade or so they're gonna have like womb transplants.
Yeah.
and they said like they explicitly mentioned that these would also be available for trans women.
Yeah,
and the fallout was just great because
they try and reframe it as like trans women stealing wombs from women.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, like, doesn't that go exactly against what they're trying to say? Like, if they say like that biology is this binary thing that can never be like disconnected from the biological sex, and like if that really was true, like that, then this entire like transplant thing would be fruitless, just completely fruitless. But it's not, because this the doctor said that it wouldn't be. So so that like that it just goes completely against their narrative. So it will keep shifting. So like if we have like
it just doesn't mean anything. There's no actual argument that they have.
Excuse me. And once womb transplants are like a common thing for like trans women, they'll say something else. They'll bring up something else.
Yeah.
To complain about like, well, karyotypes are not like.
Yeah.
So in that sense,
your
it doesn't
chromosomes
matter.
suck or something. I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't even know if I'd want a womb. To be honest,
I'd like one.
I'm already having a bad time with periods without the physical part of them. They already drive me absolutely insane. So I think I'm good.
Well,
I also don't want children, to be fair. So it it wouldn't really do anything for me.
I don't know. Like I'm one of those people where I'm like, prior to everything, like prior to like transitioning, I was dead set on like never wanting to have children. And once I began transitioning,
that also feels like coming out to people when you tell them that.
Yeah, it does.
Sometimes when you say like, oh, I don't want kids, they're like, no, you just, and then they list off these things about kids, and I'm like, yeah, I hate all of those things that you like.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
It's almost like people are not all the same, and we have different opinions, different preferences, but But I don't know. Like I know it sounds kind of cliche, because I know quite a few trans women who are like me in this regard. Like once I started like transitioning with like the hormones and everything, it just suddenly, like when somebody tells me like, would you like to have children someday, I'm like, yeah, like I feel a lot different about it now. I mean,
that's funny. I don't feel any different, and that's one of the very few things that I don't feel any different about. Everything else is different, but that one thing has maintained like the same.
Well, to be fair, in my case, I am very realistic at the same time. Like, like I do realize that there's a lot of like different aspects to it of childbearing and child like rearing, and that's not all fun and games. There's a lot more to it. But just the idea, the concept, the concept itself is something that like that doesn't like outright revolt me anymore. It's just like the concept of motherhood is just something like, I can kind of see myself doing that. But I know at the same time, that's just a concept, and
No, the thing for me that I totally flip-flopped on, even before hormones actually, was when I was like an older teenager, I pretty vehemently figured out that I was pansexual. I was like, okay, yeah, cool, that works for me. And I had that squared away, I was like, yeah, okay, cool. And I was like completely happy with it. And I was like, yep, great, that's fine. And then I had the like final moment of realization about being a woman, and suddenly, through the course of a few weeks, I just lost all my attraction to men.
Wow.
And I don't find men attractive anymore, and I'm pretty hardcore gay. But that was like before hormones even. So I was like, this is weird. And then I started taking hormones, and then it got like even firmer. And I was like, wow, this is so strange. Like my whole perception of like attraction is entirely different now because I see myself so differently.
Well, I mean, I don't know how old you are, but like, you know, hormones.
I'm not saying that it's
hormones are not set in stone. Yeah,
but
exactly.
Yeah, I'm 23.
Oh yeah, that's pretty young still.
Yeah, it's young-ish.
Yeah,
young enough.
Take a guess how old I am.
Don't ever ask someone to guess your age. I would never guess a woman's age. No, that's a huge minefield.
No, it's fine. I mean, I wouldn't ask it if
24.
Oh wow! No, I'm not.
You gotta shoot low when someone asks you that.
I see.
Because I know that you're older than me, but I don't know how much you're older than me.
Well, I'm pretty. No, I'm not. I was gonna say I feel boomerific, but it's not that bad.
Oh god,
I don't know. Like even if someone says like, "Oh, you're super old," that doesn't offend me. Like otherwise, I wouldn't ask about it. Obviously.
Yeah. No, that's the other thing actually that got so much better once I admitted that I was trans. Is I'm not scared of getting old anymore. Because I was so scared of becoming an old man.
Oh, yeah. That actually, yeah, I get that, actually. I totally relate to that.
Now I'm like, it's fine. I'll look like Sigourney Weaver. It's chill.
I think that has a lot to do with, like, just the perception of yourself and the perception of, like, where you're heading in life, you know? Like, as a cis person, I think you always... experience, you know, just like everyone else, you have like a deep connection of identity, and you can see where you're going in life. So you know where you're heading. And as a trans person, it's really scary to have to have this idea of where I'm going to be in the next like few decades. To have that be mismatched with you know, who you actually are. That's so really scary. Yeah, absolutely.
It's so scary.
Yeah, I've had that too.
So scary.
Absolutely.
And I recently, I've even, because I remember thinking about the idea of getting married and thinking like, yeah, that would be cool. And then I would think about the actual getting married part, and I would just get so anxious because I would be like, oh no. And I would just think about wearing a suit and like, and it would just like,
oh yeah, I know.
And it would just like make me shrivel up inside.
Me too. Like,
and it's so crazy.
I was also gonna say that was also. This is funny that you mentioned that because like before I came out, I came out at 29, by the way. So,
okay.
Yeah, I'm quite a late bloomer, I guess.
No, that's not that late.
Yeah, it could be worse. But like
you could say anything, and I would say that's not that late. That's
okay. I came out at 19.
Yeah.
But one of the things was like that really like got that ball rolling for me was just my perception of like of just my relationship with my boyfriend. So I've known my boyfriend for like over a decade now, I think. And you know, so I know we're probably never gonna break up. You know, it's just really steady relationship in that regard.
Yeah.
And so I'm just thinking to myself like we're probably gonna get married at some point. And I'm just like, I don't want to see myself in a suit, you know. I'm like, I'm not a guy like that. Like, okay, it's just and I know people are just gonna say like, well, it's just a suit, but it's still, you know, it's a representation of.
I remember going to prom, wearing a suit that fit me really well. And I remember looking in the mirror and just feeling sick. And I remember thinking, why do I feel so bad? Because I know that I look really good because this is like a really nice suit.
Yeah.
But why do I feel sick? Why do I feel so bad? And I remember looking at photos afterwards and just being like, oh my god, like shaking, like so gross feeling. And I didn't understand why. And it's so funny. All of those things that are like so obviously like you have gender problems in your brain right now.
And then like for me, like when I reached that point, I was just like, then I was pretty much like, oh well, you know, it's gonna it's gonna go, you know, this is just a phase. It's not a phase.
Yeah, I got to the point where I was like, I started to just kind of accept, like, oh yeah, well, everyone hates themselves. It's fine.
Oh my god, that's exactly. Oh my god, are you?
Yeah,
kidding
I was
me?
like, it's fine. Everyone hates themselves.
I know. Oh my god,
vehemently.
I can't. Okay,
I was like, it's fine. Don't worry about it. I'll just relax into it.
I can't believe.
And then I tried to relax into it, and then I was like, no, I can't do this.
I can't believe this. I can't believe you're saying this. Like I kept saying this too. Like I no, I'm not. Like that's exactly what that's the exact same thing that I said to myself. Like when I like my teenage years is summed up exactly like that. Like I felt miserable, and I remember like a lot of my friends. Even my boyfriend knows this. That pretty much like I was very, very cynical and negative. I
described pre-transition me as jaded.
Yeah, very jaded. Like I was negative Nancy into like into like tenfold or something. Like it was really bad. And but the thing that made me keep presenting myself like that was because of that reasoning. That the reasoning of, well, everybody hates themselves. Just But the difference is that I kept telling myself, everyone hates themselves. But not everyone is just open about it. Like I'm just really open about it. Like, but they are not open about it. But that's not the case.
So I'm the one
all.
telling the truth, and everyone else is a liar.
Yeah, exactly.
it's like the feeling that you get from it, because you're like, I'm just being real with myself. When actually you're being like horribly not real.
Yeah, it's like the Twilight Zone or something. Like,
yeah.
Holy crap!
Yeah.
Oh my god! Oh, I'm sorry. That kind of took me by surprise there. I can't believe that I wasn't the only one to. That was like one-on-one with my experience.
Yeah, I don't want to go into it because it's a bit of a downer. I would absolutely talk about it if people wanted to hear it. But it is grim, and I don't want to. I don't want to take this podcast and make it really grim.
It's a chill cast.
Yeah, it's more of a chill cast. If people want to hear about like abject depression, then like I will do that. But for now, let's not.
Yeah, let's keep it chill.
Let's leave that alone. We can get back to that.
Otherwise, mommy CritFacts. CritFacts is gonna be upset with us.
Yeah, but I think that is relevant to a lot of people in the LGBTQ community. Is depression.
Absolutely.
So if I would talk about it, but it's too grim. So we'll move on from that. But I absolutely cannot remember what point I was going to make. It's completely evaporated.
Well, you can just ask me anything about like my transition, because you said you had like a pretty decent like coming out, but mine has been
with my mom I did.
Oh, okay.
With my mom I did. With my dad I didn't. But vibes. It's fine. Who actually? What was kind of, I don't know, this might be unique to me. It probably isn't. But I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of interesting in a way. But you know how I was saying that the people, like before I really started regularly coming out to people like friends, I really had it in my head that like, the men will be cool with it because they either won't care, won't really accept it, so then don't care, or like, they're not really interested anyway, so it'll always be fine.
Yeah.
And then I was like, but the women, like, oh my God, like they'll feel like I'm just trying to get in on the thing that they have, or like it's a weird sex thing or something. And I was super worried about all of that. And I lived with my housemates at uni, and there was 5 of us in total. and I came out to one of my friends kind of in casual conversation at a bus stop, and that was like no big deal because he's gay and into drag and all that kind of stuff. So we can talk gender until the cows come home. That's no problem. So that never bothered me. And I worked my way through my housemates until I got to the only girl that I lived with. And I was like shaking.
Man.
I was so scared because I was so worried that she would think that she was living with a pervert or something. That was what I was really, really, really scared of. And I remember it's so funny because I came out to her and I was like, well, actually, I'm trans and I'm a girl. And she was like, I don't feel like a girl. And I was like, oh, thank God.
So, do you think?
And we just talked about gender like for 2 hours.
Do you think that might be a thing? Just internalized AGP or something? Just like the fear.
Sorry,
the fear.
What do you mean?
Like, so there's this whole the Blanchard thing, no? The autogynephilia thing. The thing that like trans people are all perverts and they're all.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, yeah.
The thing. Yeah. So, but of course that's a whole load of baloney, and it's not supported by like any science whatsoever, or like any like specialist. But I think the fear of that. I
had a fear of people perceiving me.
Yeah, exactly. Like the fear of being, the fear of, but not even like being perceived as such, but like the fear of being it even.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's.
I've heard that about a lot of like baby trans women who are like, oh my God, but what if I'm turned on by it?
Oh yeah,
like, you know, like oh my God, like I don't want to be that because that'll devalue it. But then like your sexuality is part of you, and if you feel better generally, you're going to feel better about sex stuff.
I just don't get it. Like, that's another thing that you see this a lot with like what are those people called? Like a lot of like the transphobic trans people, like the true scum.
You mean like transmedicalists?
Yeah, transmedicalists, true scum. Like they often, the way they present themselves is in a way that is like they'll avoid saying like anything that could be like interpreted as like mildly sexual or something. Like they'll go out of their way to like to be as like
which to me reminds me of the whole like women aren't sexual.
It's the 90s, 50s,
women
1950s.
Women don't have desires. Like that, all of that kind of stuff. It just harks back to that.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, I think so too. Like,
which was another thing that like oh God, it's so funny thinking back on things when I was like not aware that I could be trans even. And like I felt so kind of seen by like the women's sexual empowerment movement and the kind of, it's okay to have needs and to want things and all of that kind of stuff. Because I grew up knowing that I wasn't a boy, but I didn't know what to do about that. So I just kind of shelved it. But that should have been more of a wake-up call than it was.
I think for me, it was like a little bit different. Growing up, I like when I think back, and in that regard, I realize I'm different than like compared to like a lot of common like trans women, I guess. And in regards of like when I view myself as like when I was growing up, I mostly viewed myself as in the way that my family and my parents would like me to be. And I think that's a very common thing with like autistic people. I do have autism, by the way.
Okay.
So I think that's also related to that, because as I think if you have autism, I think it's and you're growing up, like a small kid. I think it's very easy to just kind of go with the flow because you
kind of soak up what everyone is telling you that you are.
But exactly. But also not because you can't do it or whatever.
Yeah.
But because that feels like the most safe thing to do. Because then people won't be because of course you want to blend in as an autistic person, and especially as a child. You know, you wanna blend in. You don't want to seem different. So I think that's part of that. You know, it's part of trying to adjust. And of course, when I grew up, I mostly wanted to adjust to, you know, the wishes of my parents. Which is really toxic.
Yeah.
But that's just how it went.
Yeah. I should be I suppose for the sake of clarity, I should say that I'm not autistic. So I don't have anything to add to that. I do have ADHD, which is unrelated, but it's kind of a different struggle, but it's kind of it didn't really form anything to do with my identity much as a kid. I didn't talk much because I was really annoying. So I solved that problem by just talking as little as possible. But no, when I was a kid, I remember vividly, like, whenever anyone would make some kind of comment about, oh, well, it's because you're a boy, or like, oh yeah, boys are like that. It would give me like an internal head tilt. You know, it would be like, yeah, okay, people think I'm that, don't they? And like that was like every single time, like consistently. So I quickly figured out like, oh, I'm not really a boy, really. Yeah. But like, I'll go with it. It's like, what else am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
Because I did not know that trans people existed for a long time, and I don't even know when I did. It just sort of gently appeared in my life.
Yeah, I think that's another thing that like a lot of people don't always seem to understand, especially like the older like generation. Like when I grew up, there wasn't really like any sort of perception of just of being trans. There was no, there was this thing called transsexuality.
Or being like a transvestite.
Or like a transvestite.
Those big, complicated words.
Yeah.
For a kid, and you're just like, "What the fuck does that mean?"
Yeah.
I remember watching Ace Ventura a lot as a kid.
Oh god.
And the ending of that, I remember just being confused.
Oh yeah.
I was just so confused. I was like, "Why is that gross?"
Yeah, it's.
But like, that was my only real thought about it as a kid. Was just like, what? Like, I don't understand why the joke is that it's gross. Like, I don't get it.
That's just the punchline. It was especially like a 90s thing.
Yeah.
Like, it also tainted The Simpsons and like a whole bunch of other shows.
Yeah, it gets its tendrils in things.
Yeah.
But, there's lots of stuff that's like that.
I've really, like I've said this like multiple times on Twitter, like, I really dislike The Simpsons nowadays. I really don't like it. Like, I don't like the memes. I don't like the dialogue. I think the jokes are hammy, not steamed hammy.
When I was in uni, we accidentally watched the Steamed Hams episode.
Oh no.
And the main takeaway was like that there were jokes in there.
Yeah.
Like, not many of them were like amazingly funny, but there were like jokes in the episode. Because like, we all grew up with modern Simpsons, so we were like, oh, it's just like a cartoon. Like, it doesn't even sit in the comedy category in my head.
Oh yeah.
It's just like, it's just a cartoon that's on the TV. Same with Family Guy. It's I don't see that as a comedy. I just see that as like a cartoon that adults watch.
Yeah,
but like the idea of Simpsons being a comedy show is so alien to me. When we watched like one of the 90s episodes and it had like actual jokes in it, I was like, whoa.
Oh yeah.
What is this?
And this
is so weird.
That's the thing too. Like when people mention like, well, The Simpsons is garbage, then they always say like, well, The Simpsons has turned garbage for like the past few years, and I'm like, no, 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 no.
This is a hot take.
Yeah,
people really like The Simpsons.
Like The Simpsons has been garbage for over 2 decades at least. Okay.
Oh, you're gonna get flamed.
Yes, incoming all the dislike. I'm sorry, I just can't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'd rather that you were open and honest with me about your feelings towards The Simpsons.
Yes.
No, I feel like that about like Star Wars and Star Trek and Lord of the Rings. I don't care about any of them. I've never had a connection with any of them, and I've never really cared. But that was one of the things that was a big thing when I was a kid, is that I got so many Star Wars things.
Oh yeah, the Star Wars.
I got so many Star Wars things, and I was like, I don't really like Star Wars that much.
Did you hear about the trans character in like the new movie? Apparently, they're gonna have a transgender character.
I don't care.
Me neither. But
that's not the representation I want.
Care.
But if it makes people happy, then it's worth it. If it makes trans people happy, then I'm glad. But otherwise, I don't.
There's been like a few like big like YouTube chat channels who've like done like videos on it and complaining about like.
Actually, that's another angle. If it makes shit people unhappy, then I think they should do it.
Yes, yes. Well,
yeah,
that could be a cool CritFacts thing, maybe.
No, I think. Did you see the thing about one of the characters in the first Alien movie is trans?
No.
And they've been trans. Wait, who is it?
Oh, is it one of those? Is it one of those J.K. Rowling things where they just announced that they're gay?
No. It was in the movie. It's just you don't notice it because it's just in like a data log bio at the beginning.
Oh, okay.
Because it goes through all of the crew members, and you see like little flashes of their like previous work history. And it has vague, like mentions of it in there. So it is in the movie. It's not like a afterthought thing. It was in the movie when it came out in 1969.
No, Alien. You said
Alien was like 79, wasn't it?
Yeah, 70s.
Yeah, I got the wrong decade. My bad.
Yeah,
it's 9. It ends in 9.
Oh well, it should be 79 then.
Yeah, it'd be 79.
It's kind of crazy, man. It's such an old movie, but it holds up so well.
I loved Alien.
Yeah.
God, I love it.
Oh, you know what?
I watched that with my grandpa.
You know what?
He loved it.
You know what you need to watch? You need to watch Pitch Black.
Okay,
that's also a really excellent like sci-fi horror movie, and it's not getting as much respect as it should, I think.
Okay,
it's almost as good as Alien, in my humble opinion.
Ooh, that's high praise.
Yeah, it is.
I really like Alien. It's really good.
Yeah, check it out. Pitch Black.
Yeah. But
anyway.
I have mixed feelings about trans people in media a lot of the time.
Yeah, same.
Because I'm just so on edge about it. Because I'm always like, oh, is it just going to be like a?
Did you see like, Girl? That
no,
film? I did. I saw it in theater.
Okay.
Yeah. It was it was very the movie was just like kind of, it was a bit like a slice of life kind of thing.
Okay.
So like it was a movie, obviously, but it wasn't presented in like a typical movie format. You know what I mean? Like it was presented almost as like a documentary. You know, like a piece out of someone's life. You know, like a slice of life. So it wasn't like exactly story bound in that sense, but it just I don't know. The trans woman in that was portrayed by a cis guy, which is already like
weird.
Yeah, just why? And
I agree. That's the thing that I used to just not really care about, but then I can't remember what it was, but it was a trans woman articulating that when a cis man plays a trans woman on screen, it portrays the idea that trans women are only women sometimes. So
yeah,
like, you know, when you see the premiere of the movie, the woman in the movie is a man in a suit.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like they're not. You know, it perpetuates the idea that trans women are only women, like when they're in front of a camera or something.
Yeah,
you know, like I'm a bad bitch all the time. It's full time. It's not
a full time job.
It's not like a one off. Yeah,
I don't know what it is like, but it seems to be like a popular thing. And then of course the movie ends with the girl attempting to mutilate herself because of course. In a sense, a really stupid message, in my opinion. Oh, and that was not true to life, by the way. The movie was based on the life of a trans woman, but that bit was just made up. The whole mutilation thing at the end was just made up. Yeah, so they were just like, let's just end this movie about trans people.
You know what? Like, this movie isn't sad and gross enough. And more like this weird, like sexually objectifying of trans bodies, which the movie really does. By the way, by the way, did you ever want to see? Did you ever want to see somebody suffer and bleed while trying to fucking tuck their genitals? Oh.
So that's the fucking aspect of, like, you know, this
so
objectifying of trans bodies.
It's the like suffer porn of
it really
and trans people.
It really
is. Look, oh god, look how in pain they are, and it's like, can we not?
Yeah. Oh my god. It
Can
really
I have a break? Like, I'm in pain every day. I don't need to see that.
Yeah, but it's like, it's exactly what I said at the beginning of this podcast, was just like, you know, there is like a positive aspect to it, you know. It's just it should be about a journey of exploring your identity, you know. That should be a positive thing
and becoming more and more comfortable and more happy and less jaded and angry. And like, being trans is so funny. But there's so much comedy in being trans. Like, I keep saying this, like, there's so much in there that you can tap into that's hilarious. And like, I don't understand why cis people have such trouble putting it in media. It's not that hard.
I thought about that too, but then I watched The Simpsons and I watched Family Guy, and I think, no, cis people should just not make jokes about trans people. Just stop. It was a bad idea.
The example I always give is the same one, and it's when, after I came out to my mum, I went home for a bit because I wasn't living at home. I was at uni, and I used to drive at the time. And I got home, and she was like, "Oh, how was the drive?" And I was like, "Well, now that I'm a woman, it was terrifying. It was awful. It took me half an hour to park. It was terrible." And it's like, there's so much shit like that where you can make fun of misogyny and like trans misogyny in one move.
You know how many jokes I've received, even from my own boyfriend, just about like me driving badly just because I'm a woman now.
Yeah, it's so funny. It's so funny.
I guess,
But that's always been funny in my life because my mum's a better driver than my dad. So it's always been that kind of like, oh, mum.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I know so many guys who can't drive worth shit.
Yeah, and most of the people I know who shouldn't be allowed to drive are men, but that's unrelated. That's meaningless. It's just a dumb joke, really.
Yeah. Well, I guess what do you think about like coming out in regards to the whole COVID pandemic? Just to you know,
it's been, in my experience, it's been weirder but easier because I've come out to like old school friends, you know, who have known me for like over a decade, and it, you know, in my heart, I want to like tell them to their face, like over drinks and like, you know, make it casual and fun, but like I've got to get it done. Like,
you have things to do.
That's always the thing. It's just like, I can't keep thinking about this. Like, I have to get it out of me so that I can move on.
Yep. Yeah.
Move on with my life and do other things. And that's, you know, that's a lot of what coming out is for me. Is like, let's let's get this done.
Yeah,
I'm kind of like that with everything, but it's very much like, okay, I'm saying this to you so that you can just say something bigoted at me and I can move on. Or you can be supportive and we can still be friends. I'm trying to figure you out right now.
You know, I'm just thinking about all the trans people who are just stuck living at home with their family.
That's me, baby.
Oh no! Well, your family is accepting. I mean, like, if you haven't been like, well, mostly, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, it's rough, but I'm not on the street, so I can't really complain about it too much.
But I mean, like if you have like a really transphobic family, and you're trans, and you need to come out, and you know you're still living together, that's pretty damn toxic, I would say.
I mean, what happened to me was I came out to both of them on the pretense that I wouldn't move back in with them. And then I did. And now I'm like, okay. And now it's really weird. And it's like a Mexican standoff every day. It's weird.
When I turned 18, I was out of there.
That must be nice.
I was like, I am out of here. Like I
have no money and no means of escape, so I'm still here.
Well, I guess that's one good thing about being autistic is being on Social Security. So when I turned 18, I got into Social Security as quickly as I could, obviously.
Okay, yeah.
And so I could have at least some kind of financial security.
Yeah.
And I happened to have like contacts through like this autistic support group that I was a part of. Mm-hmm. And she basically told one of the women who were working there, she told me like, oh, you can talk to me and these people, and we have like this group that this organization where we work at, and you know people with like autism, you know, and neurodivergent people who can live there, you know.
Okay,
if they have Social Security at least. So yeah, I was like, yes, sign me up, please, because my like I was living with my mom at that time, and my parents had broken up like a few years earlier, and my siblings had all moved out by that point, and so a lot of the pressure that my mom felt because of the breakup came down to me pretty much. So when I came home from school, I had like pretty much like maybe an hour. Yeah, usually just like an hour just for myself, just to do whatever, get something to eat or whatever, until she got home, and she would like almost always be just generally just upset and angry, just really, really toxic, and I would be at the brunt of her, you know, at her just abusive behavior.
Yeah.
Like I would be from that point on, I would be receiving, you know, all of the abuse, all of the, you know, all of the shouting, all of the negative things. So you can kind of guess that this already was not like a positive environment for coming out in any kind of way.
Yeah.
So yeah. So that's why when I turned like 16, I was like, okay, when I was already planning ahead, you know, like I was planning ahead to like when I was 18, I was like, when I'm 18, I can go out, you know. Like when I'm 18, I need to move out of here because
I was like that, and then I got a degree and nothing happened, and there was a pandemic. So
I have a degree, and it's a degree in graphics design. And if I had a fireplace, it would look really nice above my fireplace, and literally nothing else.
Because I have a degree in creative music technology. So it's basically worthless.
Oh boy. Can I shake your hand, maybe? I mean, it's...
I can't even put it above my fireplace because it's got my fucking dead name on it. So I don't even want it.
I do too, I guess. I think I do too. I didn't even think about that. Oh.
I thought about getting my name changed before I finished uni, and then it's paperwork, so I just never got around to it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's really fun too, because like over here at least, I'm guessing that's pretty similar in the UK, but like if you want to change your...
isn't.
If you want to change your name, you have to go to the region like of where you were born, and then that's where you have to legally change your name.
Okay.
So like you can never
in the UK.
Yeah.
This is news to me. I only recently found this out, but in the UK there is no such thing as a legal name.
Oh.
Your legal name in a court of law is what you are referred to as most commonly. So you can get deed polls, and there are lots of organizations that will charge you money for a deed poll, and you have to put in your old name, your new name, and then you have to get 2 people to sign it that aren't your family. But you can just write one yourself because there's no such thing as a legal name anyway.
That's kind of chill in a way, no?
Yeah, I mean the government want to change it so that you have to file it through a system properly, and you have to say like where you live and what your name is. So I need to get that squared away, but I need to find people who'll sign it.
Or maybe you can just get a Sharpie and just cross out your old name. And just...
Yeah, and then I got to get a new driver's license, and then I got to get a new passport, and it's just a bit of a mess.
Oh,
it's a lot of paperwork, and it scares me. I just haven't done it.
Yeah,
but paperwork is terrifying. I get frozen with fear thinking about paperwork.
Well, thankfully, I've all of that changed. My driver's license and my ID are all changed. So that's like one of the first things I've done. I think. Yeah. Oh,
I do need to get around to that. That's really important.
Nice reminder. Put it in your phone. Put it on your calendar now.
I do, and then it comes up, and I'm like, yeah.
And then you're like,
later.
And then you're probably like, oh, I have a calendar. I didn't even know that.
No, I live on my calendar. I
really?
live on it. Wow. There's so much stuff on my calendar.
I guess I was projecting a little bit too much.
When I do stuff anyway, which I don't anymore, so my calendar is pretty empty. But when I need to remember anything, it goes straight on the calendar. I can't live without it.
Well, actually, when before the whole COVID pandemic happened, I actually went to like a transgender like meetup, which happened like every like month, and it happened like in a city nearby. I wonder, do you have something like that over there?
If we do, I don't know about it. But I don't really know about that kind of thing generally. I think we had in English university we have societies, which are basically just clubs.
Oh yeah. Social
there
clubs.
There was an LGBTQ one. I joined it. I went to one meeting. I didn't like it, so I didn't go back.
Well, it is like a really mixed bag, you know. Like when you go there, it depends on. For me at least, it depends on who's gonna be there. What are like the common subjects that are gonna be talked about? Is there gonna be like any presentation? Because that used to be like a pretty common thing. They would do like presentations on certain subjects.
Yeah.
So yeah, you kind of have to know what you're getting into.
I went to a Pride once. And I didn't particularly like it, but I also don't like gigs or festivals, so I don't know what I was expecting.
You're not really the going out type then, huh?
No, not really.
Well, I'm kind of a hermit too myself, but like
I like having people over. I don't like going out.
And that's
I like
always
going to people's houses.
That's kind of difficult, huh? Because it's pretty difficult to.
It's been real rough on me lately.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
No, it's not that bad. It's fine. It's literally fine.
Well,
it's fine.
If I could swim really well, I would swim to the UK.
Hey, you're not coming here. If anyone's going anywhere, I'm coming to you.
Oh yeah, okay. Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, let's not go to Turtle Island.
Yeah, nobody's swimming over here. No. I used to host tons of house parties when
oh wow,
when I had my own house. and I loved them, but I don't have my own house anymore. So I don't host parties. Also, there's a deadly pandemic going around, completely unchecked right now. So
unchecked,
pretty much.
Don't you have Daddy Johnson?
We have a lockdown, but the only punishment for breaking a lockdown is a fine. So it's basically only rules for the poor.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
He also did everything he could, apparently, according to him, which is nice. I'm sure he tried very hard.
He tried very hard, yeah.
He tried very hard.
He tried so hard and got so far.
He did get so far. In fact, I'm surprised he hasn't resigned yet. But
but in the end, it doesn't even matter.
No, it doesn't. I mean, everyone will be dead. So.
Oh no. Yeah.
No, England is like a little petri dish, you know, because we didn't, we locked down early-ish, and then we kind of eased it way too early, so we kind of incubated the spread really nicely.
Well, it's kind of like that's that's what we did as well, actually. More or less what we did anyway. But,
yeah. It would be nice to live in a country.
Did you also have rioters?
The people that live in it. Yeah, we did, but we don't talk about that.
Okay. Because we had them too.
We had some rioters in London, I think.
Oh boy.
But it was, I don't know if it was actually that big. I don't know, right-wing people are really loud.
Oh yeah, they are.
There's not that many of them really, but they're just quite loud.
Yeah, just like turfs, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, they're kind of under the right-wing thing for me.
Oh yeah, for me too, yeah.
But yeah, it is what it is.
Did you ever meet a turf tanky before?
No, I've met a turf before, but when I met them, I didn't know they were a turf.
Because, like, let me tell you, a turf tanky is like a whole nother level of like shit. Seriously,
there's a lot to unpack, and it's better to just leave it in the baggage area.
Oh yeah, it really is. Like, oh my god,
yeah.
Oh man, I don't like tankies. That's
I'm honestly confused as to what it even means, but I'm pretty sure I don't like them.
You don't like? Okay, well, buckle up. No, just kidding. Well, basically, no. A tanky is just like in my view, it's a Marxist-Leninist.
Okay.
So a Leninist is like somebody who believes that the USSR was a good thing, who believes that China is like the ultimate power in like the ultimate like communist world power now, and they are good for their people, and that sort of thing.
Okay,
which is absolute baloney.
Yeah, I've got kind of less and less political openly because I feel like I've said what I've said. I feel like I've been pretty clear that I'm hard left, so I don't. I retweet the things I agree with, and I've got really nothing to add, so I don't. There's nothing left to say. I'm hard left, and there's not much else to talk about, really.
Well, except when I bring up tankies.
Yeah, I mean. But
that's not really like. Yeah, it's just they think
it's just
they're
words.
left.
I don't know what the new cool words the kids are using these days. I get lost behind them, and I'm on Twitter all the time, and I still can't keep up with the words that people come up with.
That's a pretty old
I'm
term,
so old.
Yeah, you're very old.
I'm very old. No, I see the words, and then I'm like, I don't really know what that means, and then I forget to look it up, and then it just stays undefined in my head.
Like everyone has like a phone in their pockets these days.
Yeah, I know. I'm literally sat at a computer with 3 monitors right now.
Oh wow!
You think I can't look something up? I absolutely can. I just don't.
Wow. Yeah, that's
I just can't keep track of a task for that long. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah. Maybe that's the ADHD.
Maybe. Who knows? That was sarcasm, by the way.
Yeah. Yes. In case you missed it. Wink,
yeah,
wink.
in case.
Wink, wink, nudge,
wink,
nudge.
Wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah.
Yeah. We haven't done much talking about coming out.
Well, we did a
bit.
bunch. Like
a bit.
Like I said, like you can ask me anything regarding coming out. Because I always I always ask
you
people
can ask me anything too. Don't point it at me.
No, I know, but like, okay, so I'm awful at starting things. I'm awful at starting talks about myself. So I always ask people to ask things to me.
I also don't want to ask you anything too personal.
Oh, that's fine.
But I guess you can just veto anything that you don't want to answer.
Yes.
The thing that I kind of didn't ever really have to deal with is that when I came out to my ex as trans, we broke up pretty shortly afterwards.
Oh.
So I didn't ever have to kind of deal with transition while in a relationship. So I would like to hear about your experience with that.
I think I was just really, really lucky in that regard.
Okay.
When I came out, I think my boyfriend was like in another country at that point. He was like doing business related things. So we were just communicating. I think was it like Skype back then? Like just using the chat function because it's like we always call. But we just talked a lot, and basically I was really upfront about it because I knew that I could always tell my boyfriend, these kinds of personal things. I knew he was very open-minded from the start. Like when it comes to like my parents, I know I couldn't tell them like much at all.
Yeah.
Like because even when I share like something really simple, just a really simple personal thing, they would still doubt me, Yeah. I've had this before. Like my mom has literally told me in the past that she would trust a stranger over me. So that's kind of the level at where we were at.
At the point of like being deliberately hurtful. Is kind of the level.
So when I basically had these feelings because basically when I was approaching 30, that's when I really thought to myself. That's when I got the thoughts that we've discussed before. Like how do you view yourself in like the coming decades? And of course when you're almost hitting 30, that starts to dawn on you, and it really makes you think about the future. So I brought it up, and basically I was pretty open about it. Like, hey, I don't really see myself as a man,
Yeah.
And right from the get-go, he was very, very open about it. I think I think it also helps that we are both very, very queer.
Yeah.
Like even though we could pass off our relationship as as straight, in quotes, like straight.
Yeah. I do know what you mean, because the first relationship I had was technically straight, but we were.
Yeah, exactly.
And at the time we were both cis, and I remember having conversations like, well, "This isn't straight, though, is it?"
Yeah. So, like, even nowadays, I'm like, our relationship is technically straight, and we introduce ourselves just as like boyfriend, girlfriend, but at the same time, our experiences are very queer. So I think that's a very important distinction that might actually be like a really interesting topic to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, it feels maybe a bit too specific, but
I
think it might open up, though. I think that might be worth.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. But that's one of those things, especially when dealing with like bisexual or a pansexual people.
Yeah,
and we're both we're both pansexual, so that was also that was also, I was also very thankful that wasn't, the sexual nature was not an issue either.
Yeah, I would talk about my experiences in that kind of vein. It just doesn't feel fair because I'm not with that person anymore. For very good reason. So it feels like
you can give a brief summation, maybe.
Basically, my experience was I mentioned my gender feelings, and I got like a really vague kind of like, I'll always support you, like whatever it is, we'll work it out kind of way. And I was like, and then we broke up for a bit, and then we got back together again, which is like the story of that relationship. We and then when we got back together again, I was like, no, I am trans. Like, I'd figured it out in the time that we were apart. And it just sucked. It was awful. Because it just wasn't handled well at all. It was grim.
Yeah.
But now, because the reason that I don't, that I know that I don't have the experience that you have is that the woman I'm with now, who I love very much, is also trans, and we were both out trans women before we were together. So there wasn't, that we never had that discussion because it wasn't up for debate.
Does that does that help a lot for you? That the shared like experience? I
talked about this recently, actually. In the time that I was single, I did do a bit of dating, and one of the things that I had real trouble with dating cis people was I couldn't shake the idea that they didn't really see me as a woman. And I probably had no reason to think that.
Yeah, it could be.
But I had like no cognitive way of like proving myself wrong in my head about it.
Yeah, there could be like an internal thing.
Yeah, and dating while trans is absolutely horrible. It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's awful. So I was already kind of having a shit time. So I think that probably informed my feeling on it. But no, we were talking about it the other day, and I was saying being with her is both very easy in that sense, but also incredibly like gender affirming. Because we are gay.
Yeah.
No matter how you look at it. Yeah. No matter whether or not you're a transphobe, we're still gay.
Yeah.
It makes no difference, but we're very sapphic, and that is, it feels right, and it's so much easier to be with someone who's trans at that like surface level of like, do you really get me, or are you just being really friendly? You can skip that step because you get it. You know that you both get it, so you can kind of move on to the next step.
Yeah, and I think that also helps. In my case, I think that's mostly obviously I don't have that same sort of like shared experience, but I do think there's a lot of acceptance just because he is used to just queerness in general. He's used to to gay people, and because we've went to like gay parties before, just as an example.
Like I had that with one of my housemates because we were friends, and we're still friends. And he's gay and queer and like outwardly gay. Loves drag, loves going to like gay parties and stuff like that. And we were both like that, and it meant that there's that step you can skip.
Yeah, exactly.
Where you don't need to explain what being trans to them is, because
exactly.
they've done that. They know. Yeah. So they're ready to hear the rest of it, which is it's nice. I don't mind explaining that kind of stuff to people, it's just it's nice to be able to skip that whole section of explanation.
I agree, and it's also very tiring. I imagine.
Yeah, it is. And like when I came out to one of my housemates, who I had a really great kind of like, I don't know how to describe it, but it was very kind of practical in a sense. Like we both drove, we both did stuff, and we were always helping each other out with stuff. And it was very like, I don't know, it's difficult to describe, but that was the kind of relationship that we had. And when I came out to him, I was slightly concerned because he's like very straight. Like, so like, I had that worry of like, are you going to think this is a sex thing? Just a little bit. But I was also like, if you do, I don't really care. Like, it's not that big of a deal if you get it a bit wrong. Like, I can just explain it. But yeah, and he was just like, he just asked me some questions. He was like, oh, are you going to start getting periods if you take hormones? And at the time I said no, and I didn't realize how wrong I was. Because I thought he meant like the physical aspect of it. So I was like, no, well, I still don't have a womb. And he was like,
bleeding.
Oh, yeah.
The body is a complex thing.
Yeah, it is. And I did not... hormones did so much for me, and they do so much for me. They really help me feel normal, like just normal, fine. And that I was not expecting at all.
Yeah, same.
I really thought I was going to have to put the work in to like be a happier person, but it turns out drugs can do that for you. so it's okay. No, I remember one of the big moments was I'd been on estrogen for not even that long. 2 months, 3 months, something like that. On a low dose too. And I saw my reflection in the door of my car, and I didn't feel terrible immediately. And I drove home to my housemates and I told all of them. I was so excited.
I know exactly how that feels.
God.
Yeah, I remember also like not to get like weirdly personal, but like my boyfriend and I, we have this like yearly thing which we didn't do this year because of COVID pandemic, but we have this yearly thing where during like the Christmas season we go to like a Chinese restaurant, and well, actually, it's a Chinese Indonesian, because like,
oh cool,
yeah, almost every Chinese restaurants in the Netherlands are actually Chinese Indonesian. Yeah, thank Dutch colonization history for that. But so this one time, I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago, we went to like a really good restaurant. It was like a 4-star restaurant, like a really good place. Yeah, like really fancy too. So I busted out, you know, my fucking Christmas, like my most seasonal like dress, I guess. And I've done all of my makeup. Like I usually like I almost never do makeup, because
I don't do it very often, but I keep thinking I should probably practice a bit before I get reintroduced to society. Otherwise, it's going to be a problem.
Reintroduced to society. Yeah, that's a mood. but yeah, so I almost only do it on like special occasions. So like, that was a special occasion. So I have this thing. So if you watch my stream, you see I always wear like a headband, and so I'm like weirdly like uncomfortable with my hairline. It's not like I'm not bald or whatever, but it's just I have a
no. You and I have face insecurities at either end of our face, because for you it's your hairline and for me it's my chin.
Oh yeah. So like, but of course during that that dinner. I decided, you know, I want to be like fancy. So, you know, if I'm going to be like super fancy, I can't wear like my my headband, because, you know, kind of looks a little bit trampy, you know. So,
I mean, that's a vibe in itself. It's just not appropriate.
Agreed. So I decided, like, okay, you know what? After like lots of moping and such, I decided, like, okay, I'm just gonna leave the headband at home.
Yeah.
And I thought I got like hairspray and everything, and and I went there, and I remember, like, after like the first course, I had to go to the bathroom. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go to the bathroom, and I went there, and basically the ceiling of that of the bathroom there, has like this mirrored ceiling, like a really really fancy mirrored ceiling.
Yeah.
And I remember I went in and I looked up, and once I saw my reflection, I thought to myself, like, whoa, that's me.
Yeah.
You know that moment? It's like, I thought to myself, like, that's me. And I'm like, wow. Yeah. I actually look very feminine, and, you know, I look kind of beautiful, you know? Yeah. And that was like a real moment, because, like, it's really easy to get like very cynical with yourself and just really
to pick out all the things that don't look right.
And,
you know.
And I'm still guilty of that, you know, because of my headband and, you know, everything else, you know.
Yeah, I remember there was this time I was working at a bar, and they had, you know, that trick where you fill a wall with a mirror and it makes the room look bigger. Yes. They were doing that, and it was perfectly to the side of me, and I had my hair tied up because I had long hair, and I was blonde then as well. So and I'd only recently bleached my hair, so I wasn't used to the idea that I had blonde hair. And I remember doing dishes and looking slightly to my left and thinking, I don't think I've spoken to that woman yet. I should probably finish this dish and then speak to that person, and then I can get back to this dish. And I look up and I open my mouth and it's me. I'm like, whoa, okay.
That's so weird. But like, it's weird, but like in the coolest way, you know?
Yeah, afterwards I was like, I was so happy. Yeah. I was like, yes.
And it's funny because, like, I know some cis people who are listening, or they're going to be like, oh, look at these trans people. They're so fucking full of themselves. But like,
they're so vain.
They're so vain. But like,
and it's like, I can't stress enough that the rest of my life, every time I've seen my reflection, it's like one of those first-person video games where the character is not you.
Yeah,
and it's
exactly.
Just like, the player model isn't very well rendered today. And it's like, nope, that's what you look like. And I'm like, oh, okay.
This is your avatar. Deal with it.
Yeah. And this is just your randomly selected avatar that you don't even like.
Randomly generated Bethesda software. Yeah. Oh my God.
I always had this feeling that whenever I saw my reflection, I was like a few inches behind my face. Like I had this like physical distance that I'd kind of nurtured to make it easier, I think. Where I kind of distanced myself from myself whenever I saw my reflection. But that was only when I was ready for it. So if I randomly encountered a reflection, it would ruin my day.
I still remember to this day my most like my worst dysphoric moment pre-transition, pre-everything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I went to like the store with my mom, and she would like basically just turn up to, you know, go shopping with me or whatever. That was usually this the occasion because I barely, you know, talk to her otherwise. So we went to the store just to get some like clothes, and so I go to like the changing room, and like the changing stalls, they have mirrors on literally like every wall.
Yeah,
and like I like undressed, and basically I looked at myself, and
bad move.
Yeah, bad move. I looked at myself, and I basically I think it was like the side, the like seeing myself like my silhouette from the side, you know.
Yeah.
I think
you don't normally see that.
Yeah, you don't normally see that.
Yeah.
And you see your silhouette and you think like,
God.
wow, what is this? What is this goblin?
Yeah.
And I remember like the rest of the day, I don't think I've said like a single word to my mom like for the entire the rest of the day, because that image, just of that like that outline of my upper body, but it was just engraved into my brain, and it didn't go away. And I still notice to this day like that same image. I have that still engraved in my brain somewhere, just punishing me.
Yeah, mine was, I don't know how universal of an experience this is, and I would be interested to know. But when I was younger, no tea, but I was a very pretty boy. And then suddenly it turned a corner, and I suddenly started like getting really like tired and old looking, but not in like a normal way. It was like gravity was affecting my face more than the rest of my body. And I just looked diseased and like ill.
Yeah.
And I remember just thinking like, God, what the fuck is happening? And I couldn't do anything about it. No matter what I tried, I couldn't do anything. And I remember just staring at my face in the mirror, being like, what the fuck is happening? What is happening to my face?
Yeah. I think I had a very similar feeling to that, because in my case, I basically blamed everything on me being depressed, because at that time I was really depressed, and I still suffer from depression.
Yeah.
Like of course, like pre-transition me, that was like depression was like at an all-time high.
Yeah.
And but the way you described it sounds very similar to me, because I also thought to myself like, and it wasn't just me either. Like when people looked at me, they would always describe me as like being older. They were always like, "Oh, you're 10 years older or something." Like they don't do that now. Like nowadays, it's the complete opposite. They usually like say like I look 5 years younger than I am. But
that's the miracle of estrogen.
Yeah, fountain of youth, baby.
Yeah, no, as soon as I started estrogen, it got better.
Yeah, same.
And at one point, I walked into the kitchen to ask my housemates something, and they both like freaked out because my skin looked really good. And I was like, I was like a little estrogen goblin.
Little estrogen goblin.
My skin is so clear. And my mum's like that with me now. She's like, what moisturizer do you use? And I'm like, it's testosterone blockers, darling. It's not a moisturizer.
Oh, blockers. Oh, I'm so glad I don't have those anymore. Oh, I hate blockers.
Yeah.
They're really messy.
Mine are okay.
Are you using Cypro or?
No, I don't even know what I'm using, to be honest.
Spyro.
I'm not using Spyro.
They use Spyro in the US, I think, mostly.
Yeah, they do.
But I used the stuff called Cypro. And
I think I might. I don't know. The trouble is that because I can't get medication properly in the UK, I have to order it online. And I think my blockers come from Turkey, so none of it is in English.
Oh.
So I don't remember what it is. I know what it is when I order it, but I don't remember what it is now.
It's probably some type of Cypro, I guess. But Cypro is like it's really really heavy, and so it also has like a bunch of like side effects. And the one side effect is like it can also increase your depression. So that's fun.
Yeah,
so
I know the one. I'm not on that one.
Oh, that's Cypro. Yeah, but so
yeah,
I remember that. So it's like, oh, let's go. Let's fix my depression and anxiety by taking stuff that will increase my depression and anxiety. But
that happened to me in a really roundabout way when I went to the doctor about ADHD, and he was like, "You don't have ADHD, you have depression," and I was like, "I definitely don't." But you're the doctor.
Okay.
And then he gave me antidepressants, and they made me depressed. So I stopped taking them.
Some people have that effect. Yeah, But
I didn't need them though, so that's probably why they made me depressed.
Oh yeah. That's probably also a good point. Yeah,
I know what depression is very well, and I didn't have it.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. And I remember very clearly. I went to my doctor, or one of my doctors, I should say, and so I talked about like all the effects of the Cypro.
Yeah,
and I remember saying like, okay, it has a lot of side effects. It, like, and explained I'm already kind of depressed, still, and I want to reduce that. Like, how can I do that? So I'm like, I should probably move to, getting some surgery done so I can quit taking blockers.
Yeah,
and basically, she asked me. What kind of like side effects are you talking about? And I'm like, well, you should know. And she said like, oh, are you talking about like the brain tumors? And I'm like, what? What, brain tumors? And she's like, yeah, like Cypro has like has like potential side effect of like if you take it at like high dosages. And like it's really easy to like overdose or like overdose, like to
just take too much.
Take too much of Cypro, like And I remember just being like, so like, is it gonna cause brain tumors? And she said, well, only at like high dosages, and but even if you do get brain tumors, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good brain tumors. So it's not gonna be like it's not gonna be cancerous. It's gonna be good. You're just gonna need some surgery. Need some surgery to get do
the surgery on the other end of me first. Then.
Yeah. So I need. Oh my god! But the way she said it was just like it was almost like a comedy skit. I was like, she was just so casual about it. Like, you might need some surgery to just remove some of the quote good. Tumors from your brain.
Good tumors. Well, if they were good, you wouldn't remove them. What are you talking about?
And I'm like, I kind of like my brain, being
my brain tumors. They make me see fun colors and feel weird things. I remember I went to my doctor when I was at university to talk about being trans, and I remember almost being sick. I was so scared, and I got in there. And she was totally chill about it, and I was like, "Wow, it's almost as if she's a medical professional."
Oh yeah,
maybe.
At university, you said.
Yeah.
Well, they're pretty chill there in general, no? Or
well, it was a regular surgery. It wasn't my like uni practice or anything. It was just like a regular doctor's surgery. But oh god, I remember saying to her, "Yeah, I do definitely want a referral to a gender clinic." And she was like, okay. And then she looked at me and I was like, she's going to say it. She's going to say it. And then she was like, you're aware that the waiting list for this is about 5 years. And I was like, yes, I'm aware of that. And then I was like, wow, I took that well. I cried all the way home. I walked all the way home and I could not stop crying all the way home. And I already knew that. It was just that when I saw my doctor say that to me, to my face, I was like, I don't know
really
what to do.
Home. Yeah, it's I think it's like 2 years, 2 to 3 years over here. But when I went to it was when I was 29. The waiting time was like a year, so I was relatively lucky in that regard.
Yeah, here it's like stupid years for your first meeting, and then another year after your first meeting to make sure you're not faking it, and then
something similar here. You need to like sign all the paperwork and be like, are you sure you're not like you don't have like a multiple personality disorder or whatever?
Oh yeah,
that I'm not making that up, by the way. That's
I know. No, I used to make jokes with my housemates. I was like, maybe I should just, run into A&E and be like, get them off me. Just run into a hospital and be like, I'll hold you at gunpoint. You put me in surgery right now. I was like, that might get me surgery.
I'd help you.
Better.
I would,
yeah.
Maybe we can build like a vigilante team out of CritFacts.
CritFacts gender reassignment surgery team. Yes. We break into hospitals and force surgeons. Yes. Every time one of us wakes up, the other one goes under, and we just keep them going around the
clock. We're gonna wear like, instead of like, you sometimes see those like police shows where they wear like those clown masks or something, those criminals.
Yeah.
We have like fox masks, you know?
Yeah, we all have different fox masks.
Yes.
Oh, God. That's so funny. So stupid. So silly. So silly.
Oh, surgery is scary.
I know that right now I don't find it scary, but I know that if I had a date for it, I would find it.
Oh yeah,
I would find it. Yeah,
scary. Same. Like when it's done and over, it's just like, oh yeah, that wasn't that bad at all. But like, with everything that makes me anxious, it only makes me anxious like at the last minute. Same.
And then I'm good.
Yeah. It's also
but like I can ignore it until it's like right around the corner, and then I'm like, and then it's fine. Oh, I used to get that with like performing and stuff. I would feel so sick before I would do any kind of performance, and then I would do it, and it was fine.
Oh man, I remember I cried my eyes out when I went into the surgery. Like I was just fine before, but like once the nurse tells you to like get in the bed, and they're like, we're moving into the surgery room. Yeah, that sounds stressful. That's stressing me out just thinking about it. Yeah. It's that thing when someone who is a professional is like, okay, we're gonna, and it's like that tone of voice is like, oh God, you're trying to calm me down. That makes it worse. Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's not gonna be okay. Yeah, it's gonna suck. Yeah, you're saying it's gonna be okay. It's not okay. Yeah. No, I don't really have any memory of any procedures that have been done to me, because I had a few when I was a very small baby, and that's kind of been it. I've had some like teeth stuff, but like I've never been into surgery. In fact, the one that really shocked me, this is only a small divergent, but I went to get a filling once, and and my dentist was like, okay, I'm going to put anesthetic in your gum now. And I was like, oh, here we go. And he was like, you're just going to feel a little scratch. And I was like, yeah, of course I am. And then I felt a little scratch and the whole side of my face went numb. And I was like, damn, he wasn't lying that time. Yeah. That's crazy. And then I couldn't move half of my face for like a day. Oof, that's rough. It was fine. I couldn't even feel it. It was no problem. Well, I've had teeth things. I've had one trans-related surgery. And so I had to go into like general anesthesia. Yeah. And that was so scary. General would freak me out, because going to sleep freaks me out. It's not okay, so spoiler alert, it's not like going to sleep. Like, that makes me feel better. It's not like going to sleep. It's not like even the doctors told me, hey, it's just like going to sleep. It's like, hey, you're even good. Maybe you'll even have some good dreams. It's not. You're not gonna dream. It's just like, okay. So the way I can describe it is just like, I'm just lying on the table. There's like a doctor on one hand, and there's the anesthesia specialist or whatever. It's just anesthesiologist. Yeah, anesthesiologist. Wow, that's a good word. A $5 word. Yeah. So so and he's just standing there and talking to me about like the whole anesthesia, and he's like talking about like what he's like what he's putting in the what is it called, what he's putting in my arm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's just...
I thought you were going to try and name the specific piece of apparatus. I was like, you don't need to get that medical about it. But you just forgot the word for arm, so that's okay.
No, not the word for arm. Like the thing that goes into the arm.
Oh, the IV.
The IV, yeah, the IV.
Yeah.
And so he was just talking to me like, oh, now I'm doing this, and now I'm doing that.
Yeah.
And I'm just talking to him. And then at some point, it was just gone. And I was just like, I just had like, I just had an image on my mind of like the last moment I was still awake in the surgery room.
Yeah.
And then after that I woke up. And that's it. But when I woke up, it's not like you're waking up from like a sleep. It's not like, oh. It's not like that. It's just like, oh, here I am again.
Oh, I'm here now.
Yeah, it's just like
that sounds so much better than sleep to me.
It's like somebody just pulled the plug from your brain and yeah.
That sounds great.
Yeah, well, it's weird too.
This is a bit of an insight into me, but I absolutely hate sleeping.
Oh, you do?
I hate it. I hate the feeling of falling asleep. I hate sleep. I hate waking up. I hate the whole thing.
Man,
I hate it. I'm so scared of it.
I guess I can kind of see that, huh? Because it is kind of scary.
Especially the act of falling asleep. I hate it. Hate it. If I'm aware of it happening, I can't do it. It freaks me out. I don't like it.
Yeah, well, then you'll be happy to know that it's not like sleeping at all.
Okay, great. But that actually makes me feel significantly better.
Well, that's productive. But like,
because I don't want to be on the table and then being like, "Are you going to go to sleep now?" And I'm like,
"No,
maybe."
No.
Like, no, it's not like that.
No, not at all. You're not gonna notice. You're not gonna. Like
that's great.
The thing that I felt like prior to being away,
going under,
yeah, was just I felt like weird, like a tinkling sensation in my body.
Okay. That's fair.
Like a very very cold sensation building up in my body, and that was it. And then I couldn't see anything anymore. But like when I woke up, like they always drive you to like the room where you can like have a nap, like prior to them sending you to your room. They always bring you to like the napping room or whatever they call that.
Okay.
So the idea is, after surgery, you can, kind of sleep it off a little bit, I guess.
Yeah.
But I wasn't sleeping at all because I just woke up and I was like, oh, I'm here now. And so I was literally just sitting in my bed, like surrounded by all these other people who've had surgery. And I'm just looking around like, okay, cool.
Yeah, can I go now?
Yeah.
I'm bored.
Weird.
Can I leave?
Yeah, and it was weird too because like when you're just fresh out of surgery, you don't feel like the pain at all. It takes like 2 hours before the pain settles in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we talked about that because I feel a lot better.
Yeah, cool.
Much better.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was worth it. That the whole podcast was worth it for that one bit. I can just push away that anxiety now. I don't have to fall asleep in front of anyone because that's not pretty.
No sleeping involved, no.
No, thank God.
Yeah, I think you're like a regular like night owl, huh?
I just have I have a lot of nightmares and they wake me up a lot, and falling asleep is scary, so I don't like doing it.
Yeah,
I also don't sleep much, so it's hand in hand with the ADHD because that makes sleep super difficult.
I didn't even consider that. Yeah, ADHD.
Yeah, literally all the problems that I have either come back to being trans or having ADHD. It's one of the two things. Like because I've always never slept since birth. Like even as a baby, like I didn't sleep, and it became a bit of an issue in uni because it meant that I was like. Never awake for the right thing. So I started looking it up and I was like, yeah, of course it's an ADHD thing. Here we go again.
That also, back in the day, that also used to be like an issue for me. Like, It still is, but yeah, like I do have trouble like getting like a fixed sleeping schedule.
Yeah,
but, yeah, that's a whole different topic altogether, I believe.
Yeah.
Well, I think we just passed the 2-hour mark. So
we did. There's a little bit of stuff that I'll probably kind of trim away, but just pauses, things like that.
Yeah, probably. Hey, what do you think of the first CritCast?
I think it was nice and rambly. I like how we didn't stay on topic.
Well, I think I actually think most of it can be.
You can draw a line back.
Yeah, everything comes back to the topic of coming out.
Yeah.
But of course,
it started with that.
Yeah, it all starts with that, and I do think that's like the general gist of the conversation was just the coming out. But of course, when you address one thing, about the coming out, you go.
I feel like you and I should do like a coming out to yourself journey one at some point. Because I feel like we might have similar experiences of figuring out kind of what's going on.
Yeah, sounds good.
That might be a good one. We won't do that next. We'll have other people on.
Yeah, that's probably interesting. Yeah. But so that was just the CritFacts 1 first episode.
Pilot.
Yeah, the pilot episode. Hopefully y'all enjoyed it.
Yeah, we'd love to hear suggestions for topics or
yes, absolutely,
anything like that. Any kind of feedback is loved. I love feedback. Please do.
Yes, tell us
any of that,
and then
I want
maybe
that.
And also maybe you can tell us something about your personal experiences coming out, and does anything we've mentioned so far regarding coming out ring a bell for you? Like how we would love to have some shared experiences with you.
Yeah.
So yeah, up until I'm hesitant to pick a date, but like next week. Or it's going to be after like the next CritFacts, I guess.
Well, I think we want to build up a backlog of these, and I think they're going to be weekly.
Yeah,
I think just to make it easier, because the whole point of the podcast is that we can make them quite quickly as opposed to whole video essays.
Yeah, I guess that's.
And I want to get lots of different people on from the production team to
ramble about,
have a good yap together about stuff. It would be very cool.
Do the chin wags.
Yeah, have a good proper chin wag about whatever they want. It doesn't even necessarily need to be anything trans or LGBTQ related necessarily. But more episodes of this incoming, much like this.
Yes.
But with different people, different combinations of people. And we'll just see how it goes. It'll be a little bit experimental for a while.
Yes, as it should be for a podcast like this, because
that's the exciting part.
You don't want it to get boring or predictable.
Yeah, you don't know what you're going to get, and that's the fun of it.
Yeah. Do you want to do like a little shout out for like your Twitch or Twitter?
Yeah, we should probably both do that, shouldn't we? I'm BleepFox on everything, Twitch, Twitter, all that kind of stuff. That's probably all I need to plug because it all links together anyway. It's fine.
Well, you can find me on Twitter at TheWolfSpirit1, and over on Twitch, I stream almost every day. You can find me at Rachel Plays Stuff, just one word, and I usually just stream like Phasmophobia or Space Engineers and all that crap.
The Phasmophobia ones are good. I need to get in on that at some point.
Yeah.
You should have me on just so you can laugh at how much I genuinely shit myself at that game.
Hey, maybe that could be some cool content sometime.
I think that might be good because I can actually get very scared.
Yeah.
It does terrify me.
Okay, well, we're going to say goodbye and see you next time. Have a very CritFacts rest of your day.
Have a Merry CritFacts Christmas.
CritFacts Christmas. Bye-bye.
Bye.